Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Destination Happiness. I'm thrilled to be joined by Matt, the host of Making Moves podcast, and Perlie, his partner in crime. They have both lived a life filled with travel since 2023, thanks to their bold move of moving abroad to teach English in South Korea, where they first met. I'm very excited to dive into their travels in this episode, so Matt and Perlie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having us. I'm so happy to be here. You came on my podcast not once, but twice, so I had to return the favor, and here we are.
Here we are, and I'm very excited to dive into your adventures. I feel like I've spoken so much about my travels and my adventures on your podcast, and now it's time to do the same for you both. So I'm very excited to have you on. Thank you so much for joining. So before we dive into the actual adventures themselves, I just wanted to take a step back just to see life leading up to that. Is travel something that either of you was exposed to very much growing up?
Yeah, I would say my parents are very big travelers. They're very big into cruises specifically, so I don't know what kind of traveler that really is. But yeah, I think growing up, we did travel a lot to Chicago to visit family. We did go to Europe on a cruise. We went to China, Taiwan. So yeah, I would say we were quite traveled, I guess, as a family. So it wasn't very new to me growing up.
Yeah, and then for me, yeah, very much so. My family, where we come from, it's a very small town, and not a lot of people are traveling, but my family, we did. So my mom, my grandmother was, from Colombia. And so that right there, just, being an immigrant, it was, I guess, notion that we're not the same as, some of the other people in that small town. So we did all these trips, to China, Dominican Republic, to Colombia. Every year it was a different trip. Granted, not every year was an international trip, but it was every year we're traveling. My parents really instilled that, at an early age. Whenever there's a break from work, we're traveling. We're not staying in our small little town because there's nothing to do. So I would say travel has been a part of me since as long as I can remember, to be honest. And then it did start becoming international. And then by the time I graduated university, I had done some traveling on my own internationally. So definitely from an early age, I would say.
Do you think, with it coming from your parents then, is it something that was important to them growing up and in their lives?
I would say yes. From my mom's side, she was going to and from Colombia every summer through the 80s and stuff. My dad, more so domestic travel, but he had an exchange in England. So, going to England and then the English people coming to the US. So that kind of exchange. And then when he graduated university, he did his own, traveling in Europe, and my mom studied abroad in Spain. So definitely from them, they had it and they passed it on to me. And what about Perlie? I would say kind of maybe similar?
Yeah, maybe similar. I think maybe it's a different story also because my parents are immigrants, so they aren't from the U.S. or they weren't born there. So they did immigrate to the U.S. at a young age, but it is sort of they did grow up with two completely different cultures. So that is kind of where that side comes from. But other than that, I think they did do a lot of domestic travel, especially when they did first come to the U.S. They did so many road trips, so many visiting other countries, other states, but yeah, they were kind of touristy in that sense, so they were able to do a lot. So my dad is from Hong Kong, and my mom is from Vietnam, but she's Chinese.
My dad's family are from Hong Kong. You can see all the decorations.
Yeah, I see the background. Matt did tell me that your dad's from Hong Kong and that you were learning Cantonese and stuff like that.
Cantonese is so difficult for me. Oh my God.
It is. It sounds so different. It's hard to say Cantonese words. I don't know. I can understand, but talking is just zero. I don't know why, but it's just so hard for me. Yeah, Mandarin's way easier. For some reason, everyone says Mandarin's such a difficult language. I don't know. Speaking, it's easier, I think. It's easier to pronounce. I think Matt can read a sentence, if it was spelled out phonetically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe. Thanks. I don't know.
So, Matt, did you say your mum did an exchange in Spain? You did something similar, didn't you? You said that before you guys met in South Korea, you were actually teaching English in Spain. So what made you decide to do that?
Yeah, so I always shout out my mom when I can, so when she listens to this, she'll appreciate it. But yeah, so she studied abroad in the 80s, and she had pushed that on me in university every year. Oh, Matthew, because she calls me Matthew. I'm not Matt at home. But, hey, Matthew, you got to study abroad. It's an insane experience. Like, it's a way to connect with the world, blah, blah, blah. And every time I told my mom, like, I mean, I'm not trying to do that. I don't want to miss the weekend partying. Like, just stupid. It doesn't even make sense. But so I went to Spain with the boys. We went on a trip when I was in university, and I've really, really enjoyed it. So I really got the travel bug that time in my little backpacking trips. So when it came time to graduate university, I was kind of, at a crossroads. What do I want to do? I studied public relations and marketing. I probably waited too late to apply to jobs. I wasn't really getting anything. And my mom suggested, hey, I have a coworker whose son is teaching English abroad. Maybe you should think about that. I said, I mean, I'm not trying to be a teacher, but it does seem like a way to, travel and move abroad. I got certified to teach English as a foreign language, did an online course, and I knew I really wanted to go to Spain. And so I just made that my mission to get there. And so I was, scouring the job boards, and I found a position with a company called Up International. So they organize placements in Spain. And so I told my parents, like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go teach English. I can barely speak it, but I'm going to try to teach it. So I was off, and I never looked back, because had I not got certified, I wouldn't have met Perlie for sure, but I don't think I would be where I am in my life of all these moves made. I definitely wouldn't have had a podcast. And it's just that really spurred me forward to where I am in my life. And I'm very thankful for, again, my mom suggesting that, but also pushing, you seem like you got to go see this world. So Matthew, get your ass out there. So that's where I'm at. Yeah.
I bet your mum was so proud when you said, oh, hey, mum, I'm going to go to Spain and follow in your footsteps.
100%, because if I didn't do it with studying abroad, this was like the next best alternative. You know what I mean?
I love that. And then, so fast forward 2 years, that's when you both met in South Korea. So Perlie, what made you decide to go and move to South Korea to teach English?
So I would say I got the travel bug first in like 2018. That's when I did study abroad in university. So I studied abroad in England, which is so nice to be like at Europe's doorstep kind of thing. So that's where I kind of got the travel bug. I met so many other people that were kind of in the same mindset as me, like-minded people that love to travel. So yeah, I met one of my really good friends there, which fast forward, 2 years, I finished school, I finished university, I finished my teaching program. So I was kind of like, what do I do now? Like, do I start a career? But also it was the midst of the pandemic. It was 2020. So it's kind of like, what do I do? Like, I'm kind of stuck. A lot of places aren't even hiring right now. A lot of people are working from home. So I kind of just decided on a whim to go teach English. My friend that I did meet studying abroad, she was already in Korea. So she kind of inspired me. And I was just like, yeah, why not? I had such a great time when I studied abroad, and I was traveling and living abroad, putting myself in a new environment, meeting new people. And yeah, I decided, why not do something like that again? Like, I had such a blast. So yeah, I sort of just, on a whim, booked the online TEFL course, the same one that Matt took. And yeah, it was an 11-week course. And then right after that, I started applying to jobs. So it was a very, very fast process.
Oh my gosh, so do you think like you didn't plan any of it? It was just very spontaneous. You learned this spontaneity thing from your travels and your friends, and so you thought, why not? Like, what's the reason not to go?
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people that do teach abroad, especially Korea, it's like they've been planning this for years, like this is their dream. But I don't know, for me it was kind of like, oh, like last minute. I didn't even choose Korea like specifically. I kind of threw my, what is the saying? Threw my coin in every hat. Is that even a saying? Maybe I made that up. But like I applied to so many different countries. I did like Taiwan, Hong Kong, China, Japan, Korea, and then it's just what I got. With the best benefits.
So do you think anyone can go and teach English?
I think so. I mean, maybe you need a certain like mindset. You need to be able to be open-minded, definitely. And you need to be open to, being in a completely new environment that's unfamiliar to you. Of course, a lot of countries are vastly different from our home countries, especially if it's a country you've never been to before. But yeah, Matt, what do you think? I think, yeah, maybe not everybody, but...
Yeah, I mean, For sure, in terms of certifications, depending on where you're going, you do need something like that. So Korea, what do you need? You need the high school, and you need the tough. Oh, sorry, college. Yeah, you need college, and you need the TOEFL certificate, right? So in Spain, where I went, it was just the university degree. I think if you had the TOEFL, you just were more attractive candidate. And when we did in Turkey as well, I think that was just university degree. But in
You
terms
didn't even
of
need
the
a university
oh, you
degree,
didn't even
I
need it.
think.
That was the point. In terms of what kind of person, I think, like Perlie said, I don't think anyone can just be a teacher, let alone teach English as a foreign language. You do need to have that certain mindset. You gotta have some level of liking kids, because if you don't, I mean, that's the job. I mean, what are you gonna do? I think, yeah, patience, an understanding that the world is different. You are now going to these places to live. You're not a tourist. So, I mean, the little things that might get you as a tourist, I mean, that's going to be put on blast because you're now living there. So you just need to go in with an open mind.
Yeah. And so I'm curious, you went to South Korea, but do you speak the local language? How do you teach English if you don't speak the local language?
Good question. So it's okay. I don't know how language learning is like in the UK, but in the US, I mean, I'm sure it might be similar. But like if we're learning Spanish, odds are a lot of places it's just some random person has no connection to the language and they speak. They're Americans and maybe they learned Spanish in university and now they're teaching it. When you go to these places, it's actually better if you don't speak the local language because now it's full language immersion. So no, I don't speak any. Okay, Korean. By the end of my time there, I could read the Hangul. I don't know what the hell I was saying, but I could read it. If you ask me now, probably not. But when a kid has a problem, if they see that you speak their language, it's a cop out. They'll say, "Hey, how do you say this?" And maybe they aren't, they don't have a fire under them to try to learn your language. So if you have a Korean kid and you have me, I don't speak Korean. Well, they got to learn how to try to say what it is they want to say to me in English because otherwise there's going to be no communication. So I actually think that's better. Say it again.
Is that what you're saying? It's better for the teaching because there's no shortcuts.
Right, because back home it is shortcuts. I know my teacher, my Spanish teacher, let's say I'm a middle schooler, they speak English. So it's like, oh, maybe me, hey, teacher, how do you say this in English? Maybe I'm not as, motivated to do it in Spanish. But here, again, like I said, if they need to say something, they got to learn how to say it in my language because I'm not going to be able to understand them. I think that just really, I don't know, it's like throwing a kid to the fire and see if they can
It's
get
like
through
completely immersing them. I think in the Hagwon or the school's perspective, it's kind of like placing these children in a US or English classroom, like as if they were in a different country with native English speakers. So I feel like from their standpoint, it is difficult at first because it's like, I have no idea what you're saying. But they're also so young, well, especially if they are so young, they do pick it up so fast. It's like crazy how much kids are sponges. Yeah, it's like completely immersing themselves and pretty much they become almost fluent so fast. So it's crazy.
Yeah, I guess I don't know how often you've been to Hong Kong, Pearlie, but when I was there, I was only there for 2 weeks, but I felt like in those 2 weeks, I picked up so much Cantonese just because it was all around me in the markets, like probably not writing because that's just a different level, but listening to it and trying to speak it to the locals in the restaurants, etc. I thought, well, I'm completely immersed in it. It's hard not to.
Yeah, that's so true. Well, we were only there for 2 days. I've only been to Hong Kong one time, and I don't know, I feel like you're so brave for like taking the leap and like trying it out with the locals. Like you're speaking to them and you're trying it out. I wish I could be like that. I think when we went to Hong Kong, I actually made Matt order the food because I thought, Matt, you look foreign, so it's like you kind of have more of an excuse to like not know the language. If I try, they're gonna just go full on Cantonese with me and know what to do. But I feel like I should definitely try to put myself out there more, especially if we both like have, or you and I have sort of a foundation in it. Makes it a little bit easier, more possible.
So when you were both in South Korea, did you have the chance to, like on your days off, the weekends, etc., did you have a chance to go out and do a bit of exploring and more of the touristy things there?
Yeah, so definitely. I feel like working in Korea, the work culture there is a little different from back home. I mean, the work hours are a lot longer, at least with my job. It was like 9 to 6:30 every single day. Not a lot of breaks, so it's kind of like we were working for the weekend. Thankfully, we had Saturday, Sundays off. I know a lot of Korean schools Some of them did kind of have to work on Saturdays as well. So yeah, it was kind of like jam-pack the weekends as much as possible because that's kind of all we had.
Yeah, we were there during COVID. My initial thought, because when I went to Spain, it was more, explore Spain weekends, of course, but I had the opportunity to fly to other European countries on the weekend. Because we were there during COVID, we were kind of stuck in the country. So it really was, I mean, if you're going to try to make moves, it's got to be Korean, which I'm thankful for, because we hit all these places, either Perlie went separate or we did it together, but these places maybe that I wouldn't have seen had we had the opportunity to go to other countries. But yeah, we were in the second biggest city in Busan in the south of the country on the water, and yeah, we really got to know that city and a lot of the southern part. And yeah, I mean, for those of you who are listening, I think Korea should definitely be one of the countries you should put high on your list. So much to see, very pretty, food is great, and yeah, we just really got to know the country. And by the time the year and some change came to a close, I really feel like I saw pretty much all the places I wanted to see. I mean, granted, I didn't see the whole country, but I mean, Korea's not big. So being there for a year, you can't leave the country. Was able to see a lot of that country, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Korea for me has never really been on my bucket list of places to go. But I'm really ashamed to say this, but since watching Squid Game, I feel pretty...
Did that inspire you?
It would make you want to go to Korea? I feel like it would do the opposite.
I feel like I don't know, I think it was the people on there, and I don't know, I'm not really sure what they thought about it, but I thought,
I
Korea,
mean, that's crazy because the people that are portrayed aren't in the best situation. It's not a very happy show, but for you, you're like, yeah, I want to go see that.
I guess I just want to be in the train station, someone will bring me money.
Play the game, right?
I was in the pub yesterday and I saw some people playing a similar game where they're throwing these coasters from the pub, and I was just thinking, you've got that from Squid Game.
That's so funny. Do what you gotta do, right?
And I thought, there's no way you're gonna flip that coaster.
That's so funny.
Tell me the story of how you actually met.
So it's up for debate because there's one version of the story, but Perlie likes to downplay it. But I'll tell mine. So basically, I arrived in Korea in August of 2020. And so Perlie arrived in February of 2020. But so with the program that we got, the company that we got certified to teach English as a foreign language, our TEFL Academy, it's actually called TEFL Academy, they have Facebook groups for all the countries that they're located. So, it's a great resource, and a lot of the alumni go to South Korea. I think that might actually be number one as the most popular destination specifically for our academy. So I posted in the Facebook group, I arrived in Korea and you had to do the 2-week quarantine because it's COVID, terrible time. And so I posted, I got a lot of time on my hands, so I'm trying to make friends, trying to make some connections. So I posted in the Facebook group, "What's up, y'all? Your boy's here in Busan, South Korea. Who's here? What's up?" So fast forward maybe a few days, and Perlie right here, she, I guess, was on the Facebook group, saw something she liked. My face is there, my picture. So I mean, it's not just it's not just my name. Well, I don't know about that, but so she messaged me and said "Hey, what's up?" So then I said, "Oh, okay." So then I saw her picture and I said, "Okay, I like what I see here." So we started talking and we just started messaging, but it was more one of these things where she wasn't going to come until February. So I'm out making moves, doing my thing, but then I kind of asked her out on a date for when she would be there in February because we had talked, we started calling, it was just chatting. But
you're excited.
Yeah, I was. But if you ask me how did we meet, this one DM'd me. She slid into the DMs. She literally slid into the DMs.
For research purposes, so, okay, let's backtrack. I didn't say, "Hey, what's up?" I didn't slide into the DMs. Korea, they take in, they have 6-month intakes. So Matt was there 6 months before I was about to arrive. And so right when Matt had arrived, I had just finished my TEFL certificate. And I was, on the job hunt. I was doing, like I said, so many different countries, and I was beginning to get offers. So I got a job offer from Busan, South Korea. And of course, what better research than to talk to people that are actually doing the same thing in that city. So, I looked up on the Facebook page, I typed in Busan, and Matt just happened to be the first one to be there, the first post. Yeah, so he had just arrived. So then I messaged him. I thought oh, it's another American. He's also living and teaching in Busan, so why not ask him a few questions? So then the first thing I asked was like, hey, are you in Busan? Like, how do you like it there? So, you know, I was kind of doing that as my research. So it wasn't sliding into the DMs. If anything, Matt was the one that asked me out on the date, and it was with a pickup line, I think. And it
What
was
was the
on
pickup
Snapchat.
line? What was the pickup line?
Do you remember? I think because we were talking about at my job that I was about to go to, it was like a bunch of other couples that were working with me. So it was like 3 other couples that were the teachers. So I think I was talking to Matt something about like, oh, am I going to be like the 7th wheel the entire school year or something like that? And then Matt said, yeah, me too. Like, I have 2 engaged coworkers and I'm always third wheeling them. Why don't we third wheel no longer and just go on a date with each other or something like that? It was so cheesy. I like took a screenshot of it. So I have a screenshot of the pickup line somewhere.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Shoot your shot, right?
On Snapchat.
I can imagine that. Let's not third person together.
I was trying to be cheeky. You know how it is.
That's sweet. I love it. So after you both lived in South Korea, you decided to move to Istanbul. So did you make that decision to go together, or how did it happen? What made you decide to go to Turkey?
So after meeting, we met in February. We weren't official until, what was it? Well, August.
Yes.
August. So, and Perlie was due to leave in, what, September?
Korea? I wasn't going to leave Korea until March.
Oh,
or
March.
April.
So basically, because my year was done, I left Korea because I wasn't trying to stay another year teaching. But so I was at home, working, and we did long distance for all this time. So we decided, I'm from the East Coast of the U.S. Perlie is from the West Coast. I mean, it's quite far between the two. It was more like, okay, Perlie's contract is winding down. We're still trying to teach, still trying to move abroad, do whatever. So we decided, let's do that as a couple. We are now together. So we started looking on job boards, and I think maybe China, but I think China was still difficult at that point to get in. Japan we didn't want to do because it's pretty toxic, the work culture, whatever. So we started, expanding to, I guess, more Europe. And so we found on a job board, we found a job posting in Prague, and then we found one in Istanbul. So I've been to both cities, but my first time being in Turkey, I went twice before. It was just one of these countries that's just so different from what I've seen in Europe. It's not churches everywhere and squares, it's mosques. So I really felt it's unfinished business. I really loved my first time there. Prague is amazing, don't get me wrong. But it was more, I'm not done with Turkey. And I think that would be cool to really spend more time there and work there. So I was kind of like, not manipulating Perlie, but like, dropping in hints like, yeah, but Istanbul though, you can do this, you can do that. Where I was more trying to encourage that as opposed to Prague. But if Perlie really wanted Prague, yeah, we could have done that. But it was more, it's just like, me dropping hints because it's like between the two, I would prefer Istanbul. I think manipulate is probably not the right word, but probably is like a little.
That's your words, not
That's
mine.
my word. Yeah, we interviewed for both. We did get offered both. But again, it was just, we decided on Istanbul, or maybe I decided, I don't know. But so it was something that I was just so excited to get there. So then we moved there. What was it? It was the beginning of the school year. So apparently we got there in July.
We got there in July, like late July. School
July
year started in August.
2022. 2022. So yeah, we moved out there, and we were there for just a few days. Then we went to Cyprus. My coworkers from Korea got married. They're British. So it's just, okay, we're back in the European, way where like the countries, it's easier to bounce between the two. It's not closed off like Korea. So it's just really that new life coming ahead. And it was just like, wow, let's get it.
So to me, it was kind of like they were both equal in a way. It's not like I was leaning towards Prague and then Matt, he didn't manipulate me to like change my mind or anything like that. But I think a lot of the downsides to the Prague position was it was a 2-year contract. And I don't think we wanted to stay in one place for 2 years. We thought that was a little bit too long. We wanted to stay in one place for 1 year ideally. And also I think the school was kind of in the outskirts of Prague. It wasn't like in the city. So it was kind of like, I don't know, we'd rather be like in the city somewhere. I think, but it was kind of like an open mind. I hadn't been to either place before, so.
So I just wanted to rewind then. So Perlie, you said you were in South Korea for longer than Matt, and then you both ended up back in the US, but completely different sides, East Coast versus West Coast. So before you actually made things official then, were there any doubts about should we really be doing this? Is long distance going to be too difficult? And then how did that go?
Well, I think the period in between us meeting and going on our first date, whatever, in February to when we actually became official boyfriend girlfriend in August, I think that time we were actually just friends. Like there was nothing actually really romantic between us, so it wasn't kind of like us being a thing or anything like that. But it was right before he left that we became official. So then that's where we started questioning like, so what do we do? Like neither of us planned to really like get into a relationship while living abroad. So I don't know. I think when Matt did ask me to be his girlfriend, I think he asked me like, oh, do you want to be like my temporary girlfriend until I leave Korea, which was like 2 months later. So it was kind of like we didn't really plan out having a future together at the moment. Does that make sense? I don't know. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was something like before Perlie, I hadn't been in an official relationship 8 years or something because it's just something like I didn't want to do. I'm always traveling, this and that. But Perlie was someone special to me, you know? And it was like something, yeah, I mean, it was something that I don't want to say goodbye. And I know, you know, I'm leaving Korea in X amount of time. She will be here for X amount of time afterwards. But it was like, let's just take that risk. I mean, long distance sucks. Don't get me wrong. But it was something that Perlie actually was worth that. You know what I mean? It was something like you never know till you try. So I said, let's jump in the deep end together. You know, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I'm confident that we can make this work, and here we are. That's why we're on this podcast together, right? It did work. So yeah, just had to try. But you never know, right? You never know till you try.
So when you eventually moved to Turkey, how did it feel moving country all over again? Was it emotionally challenging or were you too excited to feel nostalgic?
For me personally, I mean, at this point, this was the fourth time I had been doing it. So for me, it was just like, yep, that time of the year, right? Because I did Spain close to 2 years, then two separate contracts. So that was one move, Western Spain, then I had moved to Barcelona, went home, moved to Korea, back home, now to Istanbul. And for me, I was just like really excited because here I am going with a +1. So it was, I mean, the packing stuff, I mean, that sucks. It does, don't get me wrong. And the whole visa, figuring all that stuff out. But for me, it's just new country, who dis? You know what I mean? It's Korea's done, Spain's done. This is a new part of the world and just that excitement. And Perlie, I guess this is her, you know, second time doing it after the Korea move. So did you feel, I think you probably were pretty excited too.
I think I was very excited. I think it all comes back to like when I did study abroad, it was me moving to a different country that I had never been to before. I had never been to England before, but I was about to spend, you know, a few months there with people I never met before. Same with Korea. I was about to move to Korea for a whole year. I'd never stepped foot in Korea before. So it was kind of like the excitement of moving to a completely foreign, familiar place. I don't know. I think that's just very, very exciting and just kind of starting a new life in a way. You're like kind of placing yourself in a different place. So yeah. I thought it was very exciting.
Do you think it's all excitement or is there any like anxiety at all about moving country or do you think it's just pure excitement?
I think I was most nervous about the job. So it was going to be with a preschool, a private school, and we hadn't done like that early of an age before. So I think I was mostly nervous about that. I think it was also a lot less daunting because I was going with Matt as well. So yeah, that was the only thing I was nervous about, I think, the job part, but yeah.
Okay, so you've moved to Istanbul and then you somehow managed to work online and start teaching English online. So that's kind of where the digital nomad lifestyle began. Do you think that was the key moment to enable you to start traveling a bit more freely?
100%, totally. I mean, by the time we had finished Istanbul and, you know, amazing experience in, you know, Turkey, but it was something where again, when I first did this TEFL certificate, I thought I'd be teaching for like a year tops. So I think at a certain point when you are in a classroom, it does kind of weigh on you. And, you know, that grind where it's like you see on Instagram these people that are out making moves, doing all these backpacking trips, which for me, I think the happiest in my life is doing those backpacking trips and having no destination, just the world is your destination. So I think we had a conversation as our, you know, time is winding down in Istanbul, like, okay, yeah, we're not trying to renew, we're not really trying to look for other positions around the world. Why don't we look into teaching online? Maybe that can transition into something else within the digital nomading sphere. So it was just something that, I mean, we're already, TEFL teachers. We have a ton of experience. I don't see why it'd be a problem to get, to do it online. So we did. We started looking at the end of our time in Istanbul for, teaching positions. We got in contact with some former friends in Korea who are working for an online Polish school. So we did get hired there. And yeah, once our time in Istanbul came to a close, we, traveled throughout the summer. A good thing about being in Istanbul as opposed to Korea, because you were actual teachers, you got the summer off and paid for the summer. Whereas Korea, you get like 10 days throughout the whole year, the whole 12 months. Where in Istanbul, it's like you have 2 months off, 10 months, maybe less of working. So, it was just that European summer vibe. And then just getting into it, like, we are now going to teach online. And where do you want to go, Perlie? Let's go anywhere, you know what I mean? So it's like, and I think that's where the whole idea was born of let's do 1 month in a different country and let's just see where it goes. So that's what we did. And we were off in, I guess we started in Guatemala, so that was our first stop, I guess in September of 2023. So it was just, let's see where the wind takes us. And, it's just an exciting time, I'd say.
So 1 country a month traveling, that sounds like the absolute dream, I would say. And I think a lot of people would agree. So are you still doing a month in each country now?
Yeah, I mean, we are. And I wish we should have gotten you the numbers of how many countries we've done in that time. But it's been quite a bit because we started, this September will have been 2 years. But yeah, we just, we transitioned, kind of out of the teaching English online. But again, 1 country, different, with a month in a different country, it's kind of different. It's kind of the best of both worlds. Is in, we're not backpacking, technically, I guess, but we're not also doing the 1 year contracts in a country. It's like we're condensing it, where 1 month is quite some time to get to know a place. We're doing long-term Airbnbs in a city, so we're getting to know that city and then traveling on the weekends. So yeah, we're still doing that. And Perlie, any idea how many countries we can give Sophie here?
I mean, we've been doing this since September 2023. We have been doing, 1 month per country or 1 country per month, but then we have been doing like little countries less than a month, like the ones that are more expensive, like Singapore, Hong Kong. What is it? We did other countries like in between. So it is, I don't know, it's got to be at least 20, I would say.
That sounds about right.
Nomad, yeah.
And do you prefer it, Perlie? Do you think that this is more suited to you, like doing more of a short-term stay? Do you think that suits you better?
Yeah, I think it's a lot more exciting. You're able to see so many different places in a shorter amount of time. But at the same time, like Matt said, we are able to sort of live like locals here as well. So we are spending a whole month. So we do have like a month stay. We have our own apartment. We get to buy groceries and do dishes. Like we do kind of live like a normal person would here, not as a tourist. So it is a lot more fun. And, I think it's just so exciting being a digital nomad. You're like working out of your laptop and you're kind of living out of your backpack. So you could kind of work and live wherever you want. So I think it's, very exciting.
That is very exciting. So would you consider yourself like, I'm living in Chile for 1 month and then I'm living in Guatemala for a month? Is that how you view it?
Yeah, I mean, it is, because it's just, I mean, we kind of planned out a little, but, it's just, you're going with an open book. Maybe some, places we want to try to get to, but it really is like, hey, Perlie, like, let's what countries we want to do for a month. So it is that whole excitement and that thrill of when you book that 1 month stay. Like, you get your 1 month Airbnb, like, I mean, we're not doing a hostel for a month, so it's just, I don't know, just that whole excitement of, again, I keep saying this, new country, who dis, because you pop in, and it's you just, hey, what's here? What's up? And it's like, Perlie's fires up the Bumble BFF, because we will be there for, a month. So it's like we can find local friends, things that you can't do if you're going to be backpacking and I'm only here for 3 days. I'm here for 2 weeks. It's really, we're here for a month. So it's just, I don't know. And I like what Perlie said, that whole normal grind, doing dishes. I mean, okay, no one likes dishes, but it's something that shows, wow, there is some, we're here, longevity for being that month. And I like that. I really do.
Do you guys ever get exhausted living a nomadic lifestyle, or do you ever crave settling down?
Yeah, it definitely is exhausting. Like living out of a backpack isn't the easiest thing. Like we do have to pack and repack every single month or less. And, we have to get it under the weight and everything like that. And it is sort of like packing up your life and like moving to a different place every single month. So yeah, it is very exhausting. And, we are sort of here. A month isn't that long. So it is like on the weekends, we do sort of jam pack our weekends as well. And on the weekdays, we're working every day. So it is kind of like there is no day where we're just resting or having a lazy day as we would like if we were, settled down or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would crave settling down yet. I think this lifestyle is just so exciting. I don't know how you could really say goodbye to that and just live in one place for the foreseeable future. So yeah, I think Matt would agree as well.
I would. It can be exhausting because, I mean, we have our two, like, I have a backpacking bag and then Perlie has the bags. That whole, when we get to a new spot, the whole unpacking and then just like the packing time, it sucks. It really does. Like Perlie said, it's just, I think it can be exhausting when you don't have a lazy day because Monday through Friday is work and you can't really afford, because time is money, you can't really afford to have a lazy day doing nothing. But then you also feel on the weekends, if you take a lazy day, you're like squandering your time there. And that's an unfortunate side of it. But I feel us being young, young bucks, like, we don't need the lazy days as much, but everyone needs a lazy day.
Sometimes all you need is just a night in to order a takeaway and just watch TV, and that's enough to recharge.
Right. Even this, being in your 20s or whatever, yeah, you still need that. Everyone needs that. So it's like something that we can't really afford to take because you're working or you're making moves. Where does it fit in there?
Do you think there are any other challenges that people wouldn't normally consider when they were thinking of such a nomadic lifestyle?
I think the whole lack of connection, maybe, because, we don't have friends per se, because, Perlie is not good at the Bumble BFF. I think it's weird if I'm on Bumble BFF, I really do, but Perlie doesn't check it. So it's like I keep telling her, like, let's meet someone, come on. And, Perlie love her. But, sometimes we want to have a bigger community, right? And if Perlie's not doing the Bumble BFF, it's, kind of hard. So I think that kind of challenge where if you do this with, a couple, you're to yourselves. And me, I'm a social butterfly. So it's, I'm trying to, when we travel on the weekends, Perlie, can we do a hostel? Like, I would like to meet some people, this or that, which Perlie, she can go into that. But I don't know, some challenges, I think it's the lack of community. Because if you're living somewhere, you have your circle. When you're traveling 1 month to 1 month, it's temporary relationships if you even find any. So I think that's probably a challenge maybe that people don't really think about, because I think everyone needs relationships in their lives. Unless you really are very to yourself, but Perlie and I are not. So it's like one of those, like I do crave a community, which we don't really have right now. So.
And Perlie, what about you? Do you think that there are any challenges that people wouldn't immediately think of when considering a nomadic lifestyle?
Yeah, so I would agree. I think the biggest challenge is the community thing. Like, I think the past however long we've been doing this backpacking or digital nomad thing, it's like me and Matt are kind of, we hang out with each other and we don't really have friends we could call up and be like, hey, you want to like go downtown or something like that, or go on a trip over the weekend? Yeah. Which, yeah, it is my fault. Maybe I should be more active on Bumble BFF or things like that. But I would say when Matt was away back in the US for a week while we were in Buenos Aires, that is when I did fire up the Bumble BFF. So it is kind of like I would fire it up more often if maybe I was alone. Maybe that spurs it more, but maybe it's because Matt is with me, I don't, which, yeah, is a bad thing. I should, like, do it more often. But, yeah, it's like our past few birthdays. It's kind of like we've been spending our birthdays only with each other. It's like as much as we want to throw a party, we don't know anyone in the countries that we're in when we have those birthdays. So it's kind of unfortunate in that way. But I would say that's the only challenge, maybe.
Oh, yeah, I completely understand that. For me, personally, when I travel, it's normally solo, so I'm forced to meet people and make connections and make friends. But when I move on and when I have to say goodbye, oh my gosh, it actually rips my heart out saying goodbye to people I've met. And especially when I was living in Brisbane, I was there for 7 months and I made a whole life there. I made loads of friends, just like all the normal stuff for 7 months. And then when I eventually flew away, I was looking out the plane window and I could see Brisbane getting smaller and smaller. And I was just there bawling my eyes out. I was just like, oh my gosh, saying goodbye to all my friends. Like, when am I going to see him again? And yeah, it's just like, it's a kind of like a double-edged sword.
I agree. And also, when you do, like if you do spend longer time in a place, like, when we taught abroad, those relationships I think are so special. Like you said, the 7 months you're in Brisbane, the 1 month, in Turkey, 1 month, or not 1 month, 1 year in Turkey, 1 year in Korea and in Spain. It's just life will never be like that again. You're meeting people that aren't from your own country. So it's not even like back home where it's like, on the weekend, maybe I can go here. It's not like that. So, and you're meeting people that are the same like-minded individuals, that they're there because they love what you love. You love to travel. Whereas back home, a lot of my boys, they're not even going to listen to this so I can trash them, but they don't travel. They don't do any of that. So it's like, I can't connect with you the way I can connect with, like you, Sophie. Like we haven't even met. But, this travel podcast, I see clearly that you like what I like, and I honestly feel a better connection with you than some of these people I've known all my life. And that's why, like you said, it's so hard to leave because it will never be like that again. The Korea experience, those people that were in that moment, never again. Turkey, never again. So it's just like that for me makes it more sad.
So Perlie, what have been some of your absolute favourite travel moments whilst being abroad?
Travel moments? Oh, that's such a hard one. I would say something that cannot beat this moment was in Cappadocia in Turkey when we saw the hot air balloons. I think nothing can ever beat that moment, and we did it, well, I did it twice. Matt did it 3 times. It was just so amazing. I think that view will just never get old. I'm not a morning person, and you have to go there at sunrise, but it's just nothing beats that view. That would be my top moment, I think.
Matt, what about you? What's the most memorable travel moment?
So, call me a lover, but I'll say I met Perlie. I'll say that's because I met her traveling. It's almost Valentine's Day, so I gotta drop in some things. But if we're not talking Perlie, I will say, the Cappadocia, like Perlie said, I'll continue going back to one of the most incredible things you can ever see in your life. When we were traveling, seeing the best beach in like these countries, where like we're seeing the beach is a beach, but seeing the colors, I could never just the kind of aqua blue beaches that will never get old. And when you see it, I'm on this part of the globe, and then I'm on this part of the globe, just seeing the best beaches. And we really try to see the best beach in a country that we go to. So when we are spending this month in a different country, that has to be a weekend, right? So for me, I guess it's not a specific thing, but it's more like, seeing that best Malaysian beach in our mind, seeing the best Turkish beach, and then, oh my God, here we are in Montenegro, and my God, the waters are incredible. So I guess the most incredible thing is just, going out of your way to find where's the best beach in this country. We're going to find it out. Because now, in my mind, it's just I have a compilation of beaches around the world that I can do my own blog posts of when you Google best beaches in the world, I have my own list. You know what I mean? So just that constant building of the list for me is something that's just I'm able to do this, and I'm going out of my way to do this. I love that.
What's your favourite beach in the world?
Oh, it's a double question here.
You said you have your own list, so you must have an answer.
And y'all called me. Okay. I think when we're talking about views, I really think in Fethiye in Turkey, because it's the colors of the water are insane, but there's this little, what do you call it, Perlie, a peninsula, or I don't even know what it is. It's I'll send you a picture of it, but it's this strip of land that stretches
Archipelago?
out, maybe, but it's small, but it stretches out into the water, and then you have another island, but in between, the colors of the water are insane. And I'm a drone guy. Sophie, I know, doesn't like drones, but I'm always going to drop in the drone. With the drone, oh my God. And then just past the little land strip that goes in the water, it's just the open water. And it's just the amount of blue, different shades of blue, for me is just come on. This planet is beautiful. What about you, Perlie? What would you say?
I would agree. Fethiye is a beautiful beach, but I think a downside is it's so touristy and it's so crowded and there's so many people. I think that kind of takes away from it. So I think my answer would be Perhentian Islands, Malaysia, because it's such a low-key place, but it's so beautiful. It's almost like, why are there not more people here? Why isn't it so much more touristy? So to me, it was kind of like a hidden gem. So I think I appreciated that beach a lot more. And the colors were just unreal.
You have now added not only a new country, but a new continent. It's the most remote continent on Earth, and it holds the world record for the coldest temperature of minus 89.2 degrees Celsius. So I just have to ask, what were you doing in Antarctica?
We kind of alluded to it, but we've kind of transitioned out of the teaching English online. So we are now travel agents. We started our own little travel agency. So as part of that, thank you, we did a certification for Princess Cruises, which, we're able to now sell them. We're certified, vendors of that. So as a result of doing a certification, they give out a free cruise. So we were in Mexico, and so Perlie completed the course first. We each will complete it and get, a set of free cruises, and you can bring 3 people or 4. So Perlie completed it, and I said, let's see, what are the free cruises? What are the free cruises? You have your usual suspects, your, Mexico, Caribbean, Mediterranean. But then I saw on there an 18-day Antarctica cruise. Now, because it's a free cruise, you do have to pay port fees and taxes. So to put it into perspective, everyone on this cruise ship is paying upwards of $4,000 for the bare minimum. Some people, tens of thousands, right, per person. So we paid $350 per person for an 18-day cruise. Started in Argentina, went to Chile, Falkland Islands, Uruguay, and Antarctica. So we were in Antarctica for maybe 5 or 6 days, and unreal. In fact, when you ask me what's the most incredible things you've seen, maybe I'll scratch my previous answer and say that. When we see penguins in the wild randomly, oh my God, hey, look at that little iceberg there. There's some penguins on it. Unreal. And to see Antarctica in person, not from photos, unreal. And that's the word I have to describe it, unreal. That's what I'm going to say.
I can just imagine that, like, I can picture it in my head, just, going around on the boat and seeing icebergs and, oh my gosh, like, I would definitely love to visit. Would you say Antarctica is not for the weak, or can newbies visit Antarctica, newbie travelers?
I think anyone can visit Antarctica. Personally, from our experience, we did not get the Drake Shake, which is, what it's known for, the rough waters, the, constant movement of the boat, but luckily we didn't get that. I think we did also go at a good time of the year, so we went around Christmas time. So in Antarctica, that's summer. So you did say it gets so cold, but we didn't experience like the super duper cold weather. I think, what was it, maybe 30 degrees Fahrenheit was,
so yeah, one degree or 0 degree Celsius. So it wasn't bad for what you're saying. Like what you're like maybe in the winter there, God help you, you're not going there. But we didn't get that, thank God.
So I wanted to talk now about your now plans and future plans. So you just said that you've started your own travel agency. Well, first of all, congratulations to you both. That's quite a big leap, I think. So are you both in it together? Can you tell me more about this exciting new adventure?
Yeah, I mean, our little brand is Trusted Travelers. I came up with that name. Perlie did the logo. And I feel, Perlie and I clearly are huge players in the travel industry. So why not try to monetize it? We're the ones doing our own planning. I kind of get a rush of Google Flights, this and that. Why not try to, do a little business? So that's what we've done. We're very new. We've had, I don't know how many clients we've had, but, we're just hoping to grow. And, anyone's listening, hit us up, Trusted Travelers. We got you. We got some discounts, got you some hookups. So we're here waiting for your DM. And we're free.
You're free?
Yeah, so we don't cost a thing when you use our services. So people don't have to pay us any money to help them build an itinerary, give them exclusive discounts, plan a whole vacation for them. So yeah, $0.
We make money off the vendors. So, our commission base, so whatever vendor we're selling from, we make the money from there. But that's why I think we're an attractive player within this industry because, other travel agents, you pay them and they make commissions. So it's, we're just starting out as, we're making enough money with the commission. So we got you and, got the hookup. So, hit us up.
That's amazing. Yeah, I guess if I was to go to like any other travel agency, well, actually, I don't go to travel agencies because I know that they rip you off. And then they're like, right, let's add another 30% on top of that and then charge. So I would never go near a travel agency. But if you guys are being completely honest, well, that's why you're the Trusted Travelers, because, you're just completely transparent and you're honest. I would definitely come to you to help me book my itinerary.
We are waiting. And like you said, I think our age, maybe not so much travel agents, but, we're targeting our parents' age because that's who grew up with travel agents. I think I would never use a travel agent, for one, because I like to do my own thing anyways, but that's who we're targeting. And yeah, but we're waiting for your DM, Sophie, so, we're waiting.
When I want to come to Antarctica, how about that?
We can help you with that. Yeah. We got the vendors, as we mentioned.
So where do you see Trusted Travelers going? What do you hope for in the future?
So I guess right now where we are is, I guess, we're going to do this digital nomading maybe until September or August. So our plans now are, we're in Chile. We're going to go up north, go to Peru for a month in Colombia, spend time a little in Panama, go home. My sister's graduating from physical therapy school in Boston. Shout out, Caroline. You did it. And then our plan is, I have a wedding in South Korea, more coworkers getting married, and then we would like to do some, gallivanting around Central Asia, so Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, that whole area. So just this digital nomading, yeah, why not? It's a part of the world we're very fascinating. I think Perlie and I both are. And
we want to do a group trip, yeah. So Sophie, if you're down, or we could get a group of people, yeah, it would be so much fun. That's something we're looking into.
What advice would you give to people who want to travel and live a free-spirited lifestyle?
I'll go first. So I would say just do it. I think there's a quote in The Office, there's a million reasons to not do something. And if you listen to one or all of them, you won't end up doing anything. So with travel, it's a big world out there. If the whole thing is, well, I don't have time, I don't have money, this or that, are cheap places to go. I think that you just need to get out there. Because again, if you listen to any of these reasons to not do something, there'll always be someone telling you why do it. There'll always be something in your mind, there'll always be some reason to not. But if you listen to that, you won't end up seeing this big, beautiful world. And if we've learned anything in our travels, is that this world is incredible. It's filled with beautiful places, beautiful people, beautiful languages, beautiful cultures. But if you don't get out and do it, you will not see any of that. You can spend your whole life not traveling, and if that's what you want to do, that's up to you. But if you have any inkling to see this world, go do it. Okay? You are the reason to do it or not do it.
And for you, Perlie?
I would say the same, well, similar. Like, the world is so big and life is way too short to just stay and live in the same place you've always lived in, surrounded by the same people that are probably similar to how you were brought up. So I think there are so many different cultures, so many different people out there. And I know it's so cliche to say, but I feel like you truly don't find yourself until you kind of put yourself out there, out of your comfort zone. Because if you're just staying in the same place within your comfort zone, you're not really growing as much as you could. You're kind of staying stagnant and you're kind of staying the same. Whereas if you do go out, you do find other things that you like, other things that you might be interested in, and you're finding other cultures to sort of participate in. And yeah, I think it's just such a big world out there. You gotta go see at least some of it and go, just book the flight, just do it, no hesitation. Life at home will always be there, why not just go, and you can always come back. So why not just do it?
So in each of my episodes now for season 2, I have this moment of magic. It's like a final wrap up. So this episode's moment of magic is, Matt, I'll ask you first. What is one tip or habit that makes you stay joyful and fulfilled, whether at home or on the road?
Wow, that's a deep one. I guess my one habit and joyful is, I guess my whole, when I really get into Wikipedia rabbit holes about travel in a country, because I'm very big into, when we're going to a place, I spend time reading a long time, the city or the people, this and that, and then to put that into practice. So I feel I have this habit of scrolling Wikipedia for hours. So I think it really, it's a habit that, gives me more information. And so then when I travel, it's like, wow, here I am seeing what I just read on Wikipedia. So maybe it's a negative habit for spending too much time on the phone, but it's for research purposes and educational. So maybe it's a good habit. I don't know. Take that as you will.
Yeah, I guess it's similar to watching a documentary, but it's just a different format. You can do it. And for you, Perlie, what is one tip or habit that helps you stay joyful and fulfilled, whether you're at home or on the road?
Yeah, that is such a deep question. I think I might copy Matt a little bit, but I think doing a lot of research on finding the best restaurants or best food. I think we're huge foodies, and everywhere we go, we kind of find what's the national dish? What's the best food that we could go try? And yeah, I think TikTok is our biggest source for that. So kind of scrolling on TikTok for the best recommendations, which I know is probably not great either, saying TikTok is our habit.
So where can our listeners find you on social media and also on your own podcast?
Yeah, so I got a whole, plethora of accounts here. So my personal one, if you want to see some personal moves, it's just Matt Mitzel, my name. If you want to follow my travel moves, it's at Making Moves with Matt. As Sophie and Perlie know, I say that a lot, making moves, so that's my mantra. And then my podcast, which Sophie has been on twice, amazing episodes, Making Moves Pod. And then Perlie and I have a joint account, so many accounts here, Matt and Perlie. So it's just our little couple account. We just share our moves there. And then at Trusted Travelers, if you want to look into our little business there, that's also on Instagram.
And I think everyone should go straight to Trusted Travelers. Not only are these guys like experts in travel, you know, you've been doing it now for God knows how many years. But you're also there like genuinely to help people. And I think that that's really valuable and unique. You don't really get that from any other travel agents, really. And so if you've ever been inspired by either my travels or Matt's travels or Perlie's travels, whoever, go to Trusted Travelers and get them to help you book your trip. They're definitely going to be there to help you throughout and book your trip.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do you guys have anything else that you'd like to share?
I just want to say travel is amazing and everyone should experience it, at least long-term travel as well. If you can experience it at least once in your life, I think you will only be happier and you will look at the world in a different way. So big supporter of travel in general, as we know. So just, again, do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the episode. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
If you like this episode, please make sure you follow along on Spotify and hit that notification bell so that you are notified every time a new episode comes out. Season 2 is imminent and I'm very excited to be sharing with you this new content. Also, don't forget to share with your friends and family if this resonated with you. I'm very excited to spread the word about destination happiness. So follow along and I will see you in the next episode.